Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're chatting with Atish and Becky from Moodle Certified Integration Gamoteca.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar slash podcast. So I am Atish Gonsalves. I'm the founder of Gamoteca, and I'm here with Becky.
Hiya, yep, I'm Becky Sage. I'm CEO at Gamoteca.
So it's nice to be here. We will be talking about human connection and game-based learning for online learning, and in particular working with Moodle. But we'll start a little bit of talking about what we do, what's a bit unique to our approach to digital and online learning. And a big thing that you'll hear from us is human connection. So that is a big unique selling point and a big differentiator for how we see ourselves. And our approach to learning has a lot to do with how people learn in teams. And a lot of research has shown that learning is much more effective, much more engaging when people learn together in teams. And especially when they are provided the opportunity to practice. So imagine you are learning public speaking and you have the opportunity to watch a great TED Talk video, but also have the opportunity to practice that and get feedback. So I'd say those are the two key, let's say, secret sauce elements of what makes Gamoteca is this ability to learn in teams and the ability to practice. And that's what fosters this sort of human connection. There are a few other things as well. We try to make it as easy as possible for you as creators and trainers and learning administrators, and even as Moodle partners to integrate this with learning platforms. So that's a big part of what we do. And when we sort of talk about this human connection practice, we've got a few examples of what we mean by human connected learning. So the first area is where Gamoteca got started quite a few years ago in the area of serious games and role plays. So this was driven very much by the need for organizations that organize these types of think about like a fire safety simulation or a security exercise where people have to react under stress, but have to build muscle memory when they are practicing for some kind of scenario before it actually happens. And a good example we have is with a client called Fleet Forum, who train drivers and fleet managers to make decisions under stress, but have to also not just make those decisions, but also justify why they made those decisions and get a bit into the nuance of I chose option A or I selected this vehicle because of this, or I pushed back because of this. So this ability to create simulations and serious games online at scale at a much lower price point than what it costs to actually run an in-person simulation is kind of where we got started off. I'd say today about more than 50% of our projects fall into the second area, which is around learning by doing. So it's trying to combine some kind of knowledge or content with the ability for the learner to practice, collaborate, and receive feedback. So I shared the example previously about public speaking. One very inspiring example we have is from UNICEF, who built out a learning and practicing sign language learning experience. And the goal here was you won't become completely fluent in sign, but you will at least learn to practice the basics of some expressions, finger spelling your name. So this is really the core of what Gamoteca allows you to do. It allows you to take bite-sized content, have the ability to practice, to make mistakes even in a safe space, and then receive feedback from a peer or an expert. And you'll see a lot of examples will fall into this second area, which we'll share with you later. And the third area has been an emerging area for us from about a couple of years ago, where the platform has been used to actually provide asynchronous coaching and mentoring. And a really great example of this has been the Norwegian Refugee Council in Jordan, who have been using this to provide job coaching to refugees who are transitioning into the workplace. So this is what we mean by human connection. It's not some sort of abstract term, but it's really practical. And especially when it comes to learning, how humans can learn together and make learning much more engaging and impactful. So what is Gamoteca? Gamoteca is two things. So there's the platform to create. So think of it like an authoring tool where you can build these human-to-human collaborative learning experiences. And it's a learner app which can be accessed on mobile phone or a browser for individuals to learn and practice alongside other learners wherever they are. I'm going to try to share this video. That was Gamoteca in a nutshell. This is a slightly longer version of how it works. So on the ideation and creation side, Gamoteca provides the platform, but provides also a number of design templates, so you don't have to start from scratch. We've got design templates in areas like onboarding, public speaking, interviewing skills, coaching and mentoring, and helping teams to really get started on this journey of building human connected learning experiences. We're also starting to see a bit of a community of organizations sharing their templates with others as well. And on the creation side, especially for our pro and enterprise users, they are able to then work in these kind of collaborative workspaces where they can share their designs with each other. We've got tons of articles and videos for how to get started. So all of this is available on our website, and we can share some links at the end. But the goal is to really make it easy for creators to build these kinds of learning experiences. And I've been talking about learning experiences, and you'll also see on the screenshots I have calling them games. We are increasingly calling them technology-enhanced collaboration activities, or techers for short. So if you see us saying learning experiences or games or techers, we mean the same thing. And then in terms of how this gets published, and this is where the Moodle piece starts to come in as well. So there's a few different ways how learners can actually join these learning experiences. So the first way is something called instant sessions, where learners can join similar to how they'll join an online course on a Moodle course, and launch it directly from there. And if it's a multi-learning experience, they get paired or grouped with other learners, or they can choose their own learning partners. There's another mode called custom sessions, where trainers have a lot more flexibility and control over who they put in teams and how they choose a configuration of the overall group or cohort. Once learning starts, the learning can happen very synchronously over a very short period of time. So I mentioned the serious games, which usually could happen in an hour or two. But then for a lot of our more, let's say, the leadership or skill development learning experiences, those could happen over a period of a week or even a month. And the back and forth then is enabled through notifications. So for example, if Becky and I are learning together, Becky will watch something and will practice something, and then when she shares that, I'll get a notification and I can respond to it tomorrow at my own space and own time. I could be in the office, I could be outside, and it's really that mobile friendliness of it also makes it very easy to respond from wherever you are. And then finally, for trainers or for the organizers of these learning experiences, they have a live dashboard. They can see the progress the learners are making in real time. There's a bunch of analytics, and they are able to, in some cases, even provide feedback to the learners directly from this dashboard. And then that sort of brings us into the plugin, but I'll let maybe Becky talk about the partnership, and I'll talk a little bit about the technical details of the integration later. But just wanted to share maybe three examples from clients and partners who've been working with. So you can see that a number of the organizations that we are working with are in the social impact space, but we're increasingly also working with clients in the for-profit and academic sectors as well. So the first example is from the International Training Center of the International Labour Organization. They are a training arm of the International Labour Organization, and they have a certification program on advocacy for communication, for social justice, for social protection. And as part of this 4 or 5 week program, they included a Gamoteca activity in Moodle called the elevator pitch, where the participants have to present an elevator pitch and really break it into 3 components of the key message and how they're going to present it. And for each component of this pitch, they received a bite-sized piece of content, but they had to also practice. So you can see here the participants practicing, sharing it, and receiving feedback. And the feedback that you don't see in the screenshot below is both open feedback. So they can give each other very open feedback in terms of how they did, but also closed feedback based on rubrics that the instructional designers had provided. So how clear was it? Were they on message, etc. So this really enables interactive and learning by doing into this certification program. And actually, the numbers are now higher than 500, so getting closer to 1,000 learners who've gone through this program, who've been able to practice and share with each other. The second example is then more internally looking at, let's say, organizational learning and development. So this is from the UN System Staff College. And they started this program during the pandemic, but have continued it since. But the idea was to build an element of fun and engagement into the onboarding program that they have. And so they took I mentioned we have a number of templates. So they took one of our templates on onboarding and added a really nice storytelling spin to it. They added a storytelling element of being on a space mission. So instead of being a manager and a new joiner, you were a mission commander and a mission specialist embarking on an exciting space mission. And each task was actually a mission, and you had to complete and share with each other. It also did what I would call flipped onboarding, where it was not only about what the organization needs to impart to the learner, but it's also what the learner, the new joiner, brings to the organization, what their superpowers are. So are they great at organizing social lunches? Is that something that they can share with this new team? So it gives an opportunity for the new joiner to also feel that they're also contributing and bringing something to the organization. It was really about reinforcing human connection, encouraging communication. So it's not trying to say, okay, this is the only onboarding you're going to do, but it's really trying to open up another channel of communication as well. And it was really about sort of having this culture of openness. And then the last example here is a bit more of a serious example. So this is by the UN Development Program, who wanted to go beyond the online. They have, most UN organizations have an online module on prevention of sexual harassment and abuse, but they wanted to build something which really looked at behavior change. And here they looked at two behavior changes. One was around enabling bystanders to intervene before an incident even happened. And the second behavior was empowering managers or empowering people who are receiving a reporting conversation. So that's when an incident has already happened and the victim or survivor is reporting that incident, and how, as you as a manager or someone receiving this incident, can receive it correctly and empathetically. And so it's quite a difficult conversation, but it's really enabling a safe space to practice this very difficult conversation, almost like a role play, and then being able to self-assess how you did, and also receiving feedback from someone else. So it's really about looking at these genuine behavior change around these two areas. There were elements at the start which was very much around the let's say more traditional e-learning, where people go and select different scenarios. But after that, they were also able to also reflect on how would I feel if I were in the scenarios. There's also an element of empathy. On the more technical side, one interesting thing we did do on this solution was allowing learners to progress without peer feedback. So as I said, a big unique selling point of Gamoteca is a human feedback, but in certain situations, it's okay. We also find for learners to practice, self-reflect, and progress through the learning experience in a way, not waiting for your partner. And when your partner feedback comes through, that acts as a bonus. So this was an interesting, let's say, trade-off for us that we were also testing, allowing learners to receive feedback when it comes through, but also allowing them to progress through the learning experience by themselves. So where does human connection and where does self-progress in these online learning experiences come together as well? So this has been rolled out globally, and it's been rolled out through their learning management system as well, but as well as through regional offices as well. So these are some of the examples, and maybe I'll hand over to Becky to talk first about the overall Moodle partnership, and then I can talk a bit about the integration, how it works, and there's also another slide for partners as well and how they can work with us. Over to you, Becky.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you're if you're already a Moodle client, hopefully you can see that there's all sorts of exciting ways in which you can use Gamoteca in order to enhance your learning. This asynchronous human connection is incredibly powerful. But we also know it needs to fit in with your organization and the way it works, which is why we have partnered with Moodle and become a certified partner. So that should give you lots of confidence as part of the Moodle certification process. We have to be able to show that our plugin is good, that our solution is good, and that it's going to serve you and your learners. So as a Moodle partner, if you are a Moodle partner and you're working with lots of different clients, then we are definitely very happy to work with you. We're really excited to be able to provide you with support, help to then give all the benefits of Gamoteca to your current clients who are also Moodle clients. And of course, we can give you lots of benefits when we do that. We can help open up new sales opportunities for you and upselling for you with existing clients. And of course, there is a percentage of license fees. There are also other opportunities such as customization. So we do work with clients on bespoke projects in order to really get the most out of using Gamoteca in their organizations. So that's an option for you to be thinking about if you're a Moodle partner. And if you want to find out more about that, we have got a link here. You can see it on this page. So moodle.com/certified integrations/Gamoteca, or you can get in touch with us directly. And then to talk to you a little bit more, if you are a client, if you have learners, we know that you need to make it as seamless as possible in terms of your learner experience. So if you've already got Moodle, if you're using that as your LMS, we have to be able to create this plugin so it's nice and easy for you. And you saw the example earlier on, ITC ILO, whereby this can just be integrated into learning experiences that you have with users. So if you have something that's perhaps a little bit more passive as a learning journey, but then you want to add something where there is a human connection, where you're able to do that at scale with lots of learners, students, employees, whoever you're working with, then we're able to do that for you as well. And again, it's very, very simple. All you need is to get the plugin from the Moodle plugins page and to have an account with Gamoteca, and then your learners can just launch Gamoteca seamlessly. They don't even really need to know that this is all going on in the background. Yeah, we've already mentioned several of those clients that we have that are using the Moodle integrations. So we'd be really excited to hear from you about how you would like to use it. But you can also go through the process of downloading the plugin and getting going by yourselves as well.
You can either go to the Moodle certifications page, and yeah, so you can learn more about us and learn more about the plugin. You can also reach out to us directly from here. The other place as well is you can just go to gamoteca.com directly as well, and you can try us out as a learner. So you can download the app on your phone or try it on the browser. So you can try some of these learning experiences as a learner, and you can actually sign up as a creator and sign up for a free account and start creating some of these technology enhanced collaboration activities or techers yourself. And so I'd really encourage you to try this out. As I mentioned, there's a number of other resources as well. We have a lot of inspiring case studies from clients. There's plenty of support articles, including how to use and install the plugin from Moodle as well. So yeah, thanks so much for listening to us. And Lucy, over to you in case you would like to ask us any questions.
I guess this one's probably a nice one for you, Becky. How do you envision Gamoteca impacting Moodle users and the e-learning community?
Yeah, I think Gamoteca can be really powerful in terms of increasing the impact of learning and development activities. So, and we've seen this already with people that we engage with, that it goes so much beyond a lot of kind of knowledge acquisition that we would often see in terms of online learning. we've already spoken about this, but skills development is one thing. So really focusing on areas where you need to practice, you need to actually probably fail and get some feedback as you go along and be able to do that in a supported way. So um, often the only ways organizations can do that is in a very intensive face-to-face or perhaps kind of very one-to-one manager or mentor-mentee, that kind of relationship. And with Gamoteca, we allow that at much greater scale. So for me, what I'm excited about is what that means in terms of us really being able to shift the way that organizations can work. We can put some really great practice in to support employees and also to support learners. So it's for me, that's the vision really, is to be able to facilitate things that we know are good, but often are only reserved for, maybe the highest level of organizations, or for those who perhaps are very privileged to be able to work with great teachers or trainers. And now we can make that more scalable, more accessible, and therefore have a much bigger impact.
Excellent. That's great. Are there any technological advancements that you are looking forward to in like the edtech space? Maybe it might be things that are already happening or things that you can imagine happening with Gamoteca. I'd love to know.
I think for both of us, we've been in the edtech space for a really long time. So in some ways, it feels like we're having the same conversations that maybe we had 10 years ago. But we're really seeing things come to fruition in a way that is that where there's mass adoption. And of course, the first thing that springs to mind is AI, large language models. And so we can certainly do a lot now in terms of uh, AI and how that's used in learning. But I think, again, having it built into a platform allows us to also be really thinking about how it's implemented. Because I think when you have new technologies coming about, sure, we can do lots of exciting things, but where's the validation? Where's the kind of curation of and the thought that goes behind perhaps some of the content that's coming out? So for me, I think it's really exciting to be able to think about kind of human AI collaboration and how you bring those two things together to create really great learning experiences. And I think throughout my whole career, this has always been something that I'm very passionate about, which is we've got to use the technology that exists. I mean, it has a lot of power, but we also have to be really mindful about how we use it, how we implement it, and not forget the human along the way, because at the end of the day, it's that human experience that we're trying to create, human development. So yeah, that's definitely a big one, I would say, that we will certainly be implementing, and I'm excited about. I just quickly to mention, I think in my career I've worked a lot with immersive technologies, VR in particular, and AR, and there's certainly roles that can play. We've seen a lot of benefits, especially we mentioned before, kind of different scenarios, role playing, that kind of thing. I think that looking to the future, there are going to be ways to kind of maybe plug that into a Gamertecher experience. And so that's also something that I think can be quite exciting. Again, whether it comes from us, whether it comes from partnerships and plugins. But yeah, I think Atish also has several exciting technology ideas and visions for where we're going to be going as well.
No, I think Becky, you captured it really well. Just maybe to build on the generative AI area, which everyone is quite excited about. As Becky said, like for us, learning is a very human endeavor. So I think that's really still a core part of it. There's two aspects of leveraging generative AI in Gamoteca. One is for learners to drive engagement. And so as Becky said, less about, I think a lot of people are getting excited about content creation, generative AI, but what we are excited about is actually better facilitating the human to human connection. So that could be very practical things, like we have learners all around the world speaking very different languages. So Lucy, let's say you speak Spanish and I speak only English. We could still be mentoring each other, but using generative AI to do asynchronous translation of as we're mentoring each other. It could be creating very bespoke activities. Let's say one of the activities is to share a project or an idea, and that activity could be very bespoke to what you've just shared. So the generative AI could come up with a case study that's not very generic, but that's more tailored to the learner's needs. But then the feedback is still coming from another human, maybe with some AI prompts, assistance, etc. as well. So it is much more facilitating that peer-to-peer learning. So these are very practical things of driving engagement and impact. And then for the creators also, I mentioned real-time translation for the learners, but for creators, also one of the big challenges for our creators is how to localize into multiple languages. So just driving efficiencies for better localization. So not just language, everything, the case studies, the names, everything can be much better localized now using generative AI. As well as being able to come up with even storytelling, so and creative ideas. So we've got an exciting. We've been working on OpenAI. We'll be sharing this shortly. Essentially, a custom GPT we've created that help creators essentially that initial steps of storyboarding when you are building out your first techer on Gamoteca. So and being able to move from this is my concept, how do I turn this into a 2 or 3 learner peer-to-peer experience? It's not just about content, it's also about suggesting activities. And so this custom GPT comes up with ideas and gets sort of this creative juices flowing and helps really with that, then putting that into really nice storyboard format in the Gamoteca platform. So it really helps the creators as well in their design process too.
Excellent. So that's in addition to kind of pre-made templates you can already use. You've also got a custom solution for people starting out. That's excellent.
Yep. So I know that many universities, academics are working with Moodle, and you use it as your LMS, and of course all your learners are using it to access everything throughout their learning journeys. I'm actually one of those academics as well. I work at the University of Exeter in the business school, and we use Moodle, and I know what it's like. You know, we need to put everything on there, and we've got all that online content that then complements what we're doing when we're face to face. And in fact, more and more things are moving online. And so I think that having the Gamoteca platform as an extra tool that you can use is really exciting. So for example, I teach entrepreneurship and I do a whole module on organizational talent. And during that module, teams have to go and work together. And we know what students feel about being in teams and working together. They find it challenging, but I'm not going to hold their hands through all of it. So instead of that, I can create different Gamoteca learning experiences that allow them to get a little bit of nudging from me, a little bit of facilitation, but actually allows them to go off, and it kind of makes it safer, slightly more guided as they're working together as teams. But it means that they are learning as they go. So, I mean, there's thousands of examples that I could give in terms of how we could use Gamoteca in different academic settings, but that's just one example. So if you are, if you're somebody who's working in an organization, of course, try and get your IT teams to get that Gamoteca plugin. That's probably the first thing that you need to do if they haven't already. And if you are leading on IT, then make sure that you've got the Gamoteca plugin. And again, like Atish was saying earlier, have a play with some of the learning experiences to get up to speed with it. If you want help in terms of how might you create something, please do get in touch with us. But otherwise, really think about where could you do with some asynchronous human connection. It's everywhere across our learning where this can be really helpful. So have a think about that, and then please do implement Gamoteca into your learning pathways with your students. I know that they enjoy it. They really love working with it. So yeah, I think it can really enhance the learning that is happening within the academic setting.
Great, thanks, Becky. And maybe I can just plug very quickly, like the use of coaching and mentoring. So the biggest opportunity for learning and the biggest untapped learning resource in organizations are its people. The best way to tap that resource, which is the learning resource, is people, the way they use coaching and mentoring within an organization. So mentoring, focusing, for example, on helping transfer some of the immense knowledge and lived experience and skills that exist, and helping like newcomers in the organization, or people who don't have a sort of skill set to benefit from that. And traditionally, coaching and mentoring has been quite difficult to scale, and it's been offered at more senior levels. And one of the most inspiring projects we've seen recently, I mentioned it at the start of the presentation, was a Norwegian Refugee Council in Jordan. And what they did was they built out 4 modules looking at job readiness. So it was helping prepare for a job interview, preparing yourself for the job market, how to communicate yourself effectively to employers, and also having a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit and being able to pitch yourself and pitch your ideas. And so there were these bite-sized content modules which they built out on Gamoteca, but they also connected those to job coaches. But they did it in such a way that they balanced the amount of content as well as the bespoke feedback they received from the coaches, which allowed them, in some cases, to scale the coach to learner ratio to 1:500. And I think that's an incredible testament to how you can really democratize and scale up coaching and mentoring in an organization. So it's a methodology we know has worked for a while, but it's been difficult to scale. So with Gamoteca, you are able to then provide that bespoke knowledge and experience from others, but do it in a way where they can do it effectively and time effectively for them as well. And the results that we're getting back from the program has been incredible as well. We're seeing refugees who are actually getting placed in the job market as well. So even that the end impact we're also seeing being quite impactful. So yeah, it's a project that Becky, myself, with the team is super proud of, being able to effectively deliver coaching at scale, but also doing it for a very, very good cause as well.
So if you do want to find out more, you can find us at gamoteca.com, or you can come and find us on social media. We're on Instagram at gamoteca_learn, or we're on LinkedIn as well. So come and find us, Gamoteca, on LinkedIn. And of course, you can find Atish and I there as well.
Excellent. Thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.